Hello, friends. This is Sam Cheney reporting for Weaponized News. Today's August 5th, 2025. There's some fives in there for the numerology people out there. Welcome to Tuesday edition of Weaponized News. What do we have for you today to go over? They're doing a big ICE push, trying to recruit. We've been reporting on that. We'll show you some propaganda coming out of the U.S. federal government from ICE. Looks like there's going to be a showdown between sanctuary states, cities, counties in America and the federal government. The Justice Department publishes list of sanctuary jurisdictions. And so the question is, what are they going to do about it? We've got big propaganda push by Homeland Security, ICE. We'll go over all that. As we're still waiting for mass deportations, I guess the excuse is now they don't have enough manpower. Well, we're 7 months in here to the Trump administration. Took them long enough to figure that out. We got our governor here in the great state of California, Gavin Newsom, doing his info warrior duties on the X. We'll go over that. What else do we got? We got we got public health news, technocracy, dystopia news, as usual here. We have Epstein news, Epstein update. By the way, on that note, we're going to have Johnny Vedmore on the show on Monday. I just confirmed that a little bit before we went on the air. And so we'll do a deep dive with him into all of his Epstein research. It shall be very informative, to say the least, because we're not letting Epstein go with all the other distractions. We're going to cover every freaking day here at Weaponized News because Trump doesn't want us to. So we're going to cover it even more than we ever would have before. See how that works? So that's good. On Monday, we have an update from the most recent developments in that whole saga, Epstein-Maxwell saga, to go over. We have public health news. I think I mentioned before. A little bit of geopolitical news. India calling out, or a reporter calling out Trump on India's behalf about how you're going to sanction us for Russia oil deals when you, America, you are still doing deals with Russia. Trump says he doesn't know anything about it. We'll see how all this sorts out. Trump's threatening sanctions on Russia. I don't know how you can sanction them any more than they already are. The Russian, quote, shadow fleet of oil tankers. I guess they've been flying under the radar, reportedly. And so Trump wants to do something, apparently, about Russia, Ukraine. By all reports, Russia doesn't really give a damn at this point. They're going to win that war, according to whatever metrics they have laid out for them. And I don't think much that the United States and Trump threaten, fund Ukraine or anything like that can change the trajectory that Russia's on as far as Ukraine goes here now. We want peace there. Of course, Putin, the most evil man in the world. We want peace, stop killing each other, Russia and Ukraine. But it doesn't look like it's going to happen anytime soon, especially not due to U.S. pressure. We'll go over some of that. China, Russia, they're flexing their naval muscles. We got a propaganda video from them. And then what else do we got? Wrapping it up here, as usual, saving aardvarks for last. A lot of aardvark news. Looks like they're going to take over, by all accounts here now. They're going to go ahead and take over all of Gaza. What is it, like 70, 80% is already occupied by aardvark military, IDF. They're going to go ahead and take the rest, and I don't know what they're going to do with the people. I guess continue the genocide. That's what it looks like, as the rest of the world, except for America here, watches on in horror. All that to cover and much more on this Tuesday edition of Weaponized News for you. We have Thomas from Alpha Mega Energy joining us. Let's get to this day in history. On this day of August 5th, going back to the year 1305, we see of Braveheart fame. William Wallace captured Scottish resistance leader William Wallace is captured by the English near Glasgow and transported to London for trial and execution. Moving forward in time here on this day, in the year 1583, Humphrey Gilbert claims Newfoundland for England, for the English crown, establishing the first English colony in North America and the beginning of the British Empire there in North America. Fast forwarding again through history here to the year 1812, we see the Battle of Brownstone on this day, part of the War of 1812. Of course, in 1812, right? Tecumseh's Native American force of 25 ambushes Thomas Van Horn's 200 U.S. militiamen at Brownstones Creek in Michigan Territory. U.S. forces retreat haphazardly with 18 killed, 12 wounded, and 70 abandoning the battle. So a big win there by the Indians at the Battle of Brownstone on this day, part of the War of 1812. In 1861, then President Abraham Lincoln signs the first U.S. personal income tax into law, imposing a 3% tax on income over $800. Taxation staff, by the way, if you didn't know. I'm sure our audience knows this fact. In the year, where am I at here? Did I get messed up? Oh no, this is a good one. Sorry. In the year 1864, on this day, the Battle of Mobile Bay. The Battle of Mobile Bay, won by the Union Navy, led by Rear Admiral David Frigate, with the cry, "Damn the torpedoes, full speed ahead." I'm sure we've all heard that phrase before. Made famous on this day by David Frigate. Fast forward again through history to the year 1914. On this day, we saw the first electric traffic light installed in the United States at the intersection of East 105th Street and Esalid Avenue in Cleveland, Ohio. In 1932, on this day, we saw the Borough Gang kill a lawman. Of course, Clyde, of the famous Bonnie and Clyde bank robbing gang. Clyde Borough and two associates kill Sheriff C.G. Maxwell and his deputy, Eugene C. Moore, in the first instance of the gang killing a lawman on this day in 1932. In 1944, German forces begin the mass killing of between 40 and 50,000 Polish civilians in the Warsaw district there in Wola, Poland, during an uprising. In 1963, Britain, USA, and USSR signed the Nuclear Test Ban Treaty, and then go on to summarily all violate said treaty. In 1964, the United States begins bombing North Vietnam in response to the real and imagined attacks on U.S. Navy ships in the Gulf of Tonkin. As we covered yesterday, the second attack, totally fabricated, made up, never happened. So we do appreciate the false flag of the Gulf of Tonkin that got the United States into the Vietnam War. In 1988, American politician Mario Biaggi, a representative out of New York, Democrat, is convicted of racketeering and resigns his seat. You don't see that much anymore. 1988. They should all actually, the entire Congress should be indicted for racketeering, because that's exactly what they're doing, is running a protection racket on the American people here now. In 2014, then President Barack Hussein Obama, aka Barry Soetoro, signs the Iron Dome bill, providing $225 million in additional funding for Aardvark Land's Iron Dome defense system. Well, thank you very much, Mr. Big Liberal there, Barry Soetoro. I'm sure Democrats and liberals loved it. And then we fast forward here to, is that all we got on this days? There's a couple little here and there's, but I think we about covered it, the major events. Here's a major event for our civil liberties, specifically the CIA. Everybody loves the CIA. They keep America safe, right? Well, in 1968, on this day of August 5th, a CIA memo explained its operations related to co-opting colleges and universities and professors. Well, got to have a spy, an intel agent to the intelligence agencies, running college classrooms, right? The CIA had begun secret funding of institutions and people in the 1950s. The program was finally exposed on February 15th, 1967 by an article in Rampart magazine. Following the exposure, LBJ, then president, issued a policy on March 29th, 1967 that prohibited any such secret funding. The history of the role of academics and intellectuals in serving the U.S. during wartime was the subject of blistering criticisms, first by Randolph Bourne in War and the Intellectuals during World War I, and during the Vietnam War by Noah Chomsky in his famous essay, The Responsibility of Intellectuals. Are you an intellectual if you're a propped up intelligence agent working for the CIA? Is that really intellectually honest? But we do appreciate the CIA memo explaining co-opting of universities and professors. It's good of them to go ahead and propagandize and lie to the youth about America. All right. With that, do we even have a video segue? I think we do. Yeah, this is sad. DOGE got beat up last night. Somebody from DOGE was very badly hurt last night. They beat this DOGE kid up. Here's the image, and we'll play the video of it. Oh, we're all out of whack here. There we go. Now we're back on track. Nope, maybe not. Anyway, here's the DOGE kid. He got beat up in DC last night. Here's Trump talking about it today, and then we'll do a segue to the news here for you.
By the way, I have to say that somebody from DOGE was very badly hurt last night. You saw that. A young man who was beat up by a bunch of thugs in D.C. And either they're going to straighten their act out in the terms of government and in terms of protection, or we're going to have to federalize and run it the way it's supposed to be run.
Is Trump going to federalize Washington, D.C.? That's the question. Here's the report about the beating. Well, Trump says crime in Washington, D.C. is totally out of control. Local youths and gang members, some only 14, 15, and 16 years old, are randomly attacking, mugging, maiming, and shooting innocent citizens. At the same time, knowing that they will be almost immediately released, they are not afraid of law enforcement because they know nothing ever happens to them. Oh, sounds like the government, doesn't it, there, Trump? Are you describing the federal government or gang member disgruntled youth? Seems like could be one and the same there. The law in DC must be changed to prosecute these minors as adults and lock them up for a long time, starting at age 14. He knows something about minors, doesn't he, here now? The most recent victim was beaten mercilessly by local thugs. Washington, D.C. must be safe, clean, and beautiful for all Americans. And importantly, for the world to see. If D.C. doesn't get its act together and quickly, we will have no choice but to take federal control of the city and run this city how it should be run and put criminals on notice that they're not going to get away with it anymore. Perhaps it should have been done a long time ago. Then this incredible young man and so many others would not have had to go through the horrors of violent crime. If this continues, I'm going to exert my powers and federalize this city, make America great again. Can he even do that? I don't know. I guess we'll see. But Trump talks a big game about a lot of stuff, and there's a little action. We're still waiting on mass deportations here now. Major campaign promise, and it ain't happening. Let's go ahead and segue to bring Thomas on the show. How you doing on this Tuesday, Thomas? Hello? Your mic's
I double clicked the mic. There we go. So, yeah, doing all right here in Southeast Asia. We've got some more war news over in Southeast Asia, international trade news as well with the trade tariffs over here in Asia, some happenings. So
we got that. We'll get to that in the economic section. Well, this is good news for the Freemasons and Satanists out there. You got you screwed up my my display here, Thomas, when you did your show. There we go.
Apologies.
So here's good news for Freemasons and Satanists. Statue of Confederate General Albert Pike to be reinstated in Washington. Of course, it was torn down and vandalized during the BLM peaceful riots there. And so it's good news for the Freemasons. And more statues. Another Confederate memorial restored. Secretary of Defense Hegseth, the Reconciliation Monument was torn down, he says, by woke lemmings. Now it's being reinstalled in Arlington National Cemetery. It was removed in 2023, so 2 years ago. Here's some video of that. I think I got us back on track. not very exciting video. Anyway, that happened today. Here they're telling you it's wrestling again. I don't know how many times they need to tell you. And bless old Hulk Hogan's soul there as he's gone on to the next level. But here you go. And so they are having the Hulkster funeral today. And I thought everybody would enjoy seeing this picture. Yeah, it's wrestling. They're literally telling you that. And that's right.
There's in the comments here, there's the evidence of Talmudic subterfuge again. You notice we have people talking about these new bioweapons and nanotechnology in the food, and it's being announced in the news. We're all eating nanotech. And then they're talking about as well eliminating informed consent laws and making this obsolete apparently, and giving the bioweapons manufacturers more immunity. And then they've lied to everybody this entire time that immunity is actually a thing, that it's real and it exists. So immunity and immunity, legal immunity and supposed, right, fake immunity to their airborne boogeymen, their chemical weapons, right? So giving themselves immunity, legal immunity, right, by lying to you that you're going to get immunity, but really they're getting immunity, right? By lying it's a fake boogeyman and not the actual chemical product that it is. And
we'll get to that in public health. I do like the double of play that they're doing there, though, with the immunity. Got to give them credit for being good propagandists. Speaking of good propaganda, here.
Thank you, Elmer.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Satanists, dark occultists, mind controllers, social engineers out there. We do appreciate. Don't think we don't see your efforts and appreciate it. Here's propaganda mimicking South Park there, right from the Department of Homeland Security. And so instead of deporting illegal aliens, they're cooking up memes for the X over there on the interwebs. And we do appreciate those efforts. Here's some more propaganda. So it's a big propaganda push here, like we haven't seen in a while. America needs you. And of course, the classic Uncle Sam image there. And as we've been reporting, go ahead and sign up for ICE and get all these bonuses, maybe, possibly. I would never trust this government for anything, but the economy is doing a lot worse than they say. So people may need to seek gainful employment through ICE. And what are they going to do if they ever do complete, which I don't think they will? What are they going to do with all these ICE officers? 10,000 they're trying to recruit here now. If they ever did fulfill the mission of mass deportation, what would they do then? Well, they're coming after you and me. You better believe it. Okay, so big push here now.
I've got a new conspiracy theory.
All your other ones came true?
They're all out since 500 out of 500 have quote unquote come true. I'll make another one right here live on Weaponized News, the conspiracy theory show, as some people would call it. So since we've seen Trump go from let's deport all the illegals to, hey, we have this great pressing need for staff in these particular areas like hotels and farms, etc. So let's let them stay. Let's gainfully employ the illegal aliens. So my new conspiracy theory is Trump is going to hire the illegal aliens into ICE to deport the illegal aliens.
There may be some kind of deal where they say, you help us deport the other illegal aliens and we'll give you a pathway to citizenship. I could see that, 100% see that.
It's coming.
That's not even a far reach at all. Okay, the Justice Department, where there is no justice for the criminals in the government, it's just us, which means them, the government, the crime syndicate, known as the federal government. Now they're turning the screws on these sanctuary cities. Today, the Justice Department published a list of state cities, and counties identified as having policies, laws, or regulations that impede enforcement of federal immigration laws. Sanctuary policies impede law enforcement and put American citizens at risk by design. They don't give a damn about if you're at risk as an American citizen, but that's besides the point. The Department of Justice will continue bringing litigation against sanctuary jurisdictions and work closely with the Department of Homeland Security to eradicate these harmful policies around the country. This seems like a big federal, even though I'm personally against sanctuary cities, states, counties, those policies, but it seems like a federal overreach to me here. Here are the states, of course, the Golden State of California, Colorado, Connecticut, Delaware, DC, Illinois, Minnesota, Nevada, New York, Oregon, Rhode Island, Vermont, Washington, all big liberals, except for maybe a couple are purple in here. I guess Trump's going to take over DC. Do it. Stop talking. Do it. Counties, these are big, of course, Democrat corrupt counties. How about go arrest their whole government and then arrest yourselves and turn yourselves in? We know that'll never happen. Of course, Baltimore County, they're in Maryland, one of the most corrupt. Cook County in Illinois, one of the most corrupt. San Diego County, one of the most corrupt. And San Francisco in California, the most corrupt right there. Arrest everybody. They won't do it. And then the cities, Albuquerque, Berkeley, Boston, Chicago, Denver, East Lansing, Hoboken, New Jersey City, LA, New Orleans, New York, Newark, Patterson, Philadelphia, Portland, Rochester, Seattle, San Francisco, all corrupt beyond our imagination. But you have the corrupt Department of Justice chasing corrupt local municipalities there. So it's a big battle of who's most corrupt. And I don't know, do something. Do something. They won't. Go arrest all the corrupt government and they won't do it. So there you go. Demonize the illegal aliens. And I guess that's about all we're going to get out of it.
Newscomb has been caught again in yet another financial crime. Speaking of that,
we'll get to that. We got a Newscomb section here. Serve your country, defend your culture. What's our culture? That's a joke, right? No undergraduate degree required. So you can be a thug off the street and join up with the Department of Homeland Security there at ICE. Reading, writing, arithmetic. Who cares? Defend your culture of redneckism. I don't know. What is our culture?
The guys who just beat up the DOGE people, they're going to get off scot-free from the left-wing.
That was their culture. That's their American culture in the ghetto there in D.C. So, I mean, they're defending their culture.
Right. So they're going to get off scot-free, of course, by the Soros-appointed district attorneys and judges. And then they're probably going to go work for ICE to do some more beating.
Maybe. Do you even need a high school degree, junior high, elementary school? I don't know. They're just like, who cares? We need some thugs over here, like now. Okay. Classic propaganda. At least they're repurposing this propaganda, which I do appreciate the thumbnail for this show. Joinice.gov. America needs you. Join ICE. And of course, classic World War I, World War II, Uncle Sam propaganda poster there. So they are doing a good job repurposing the old U.S. federal government propaganda for wars. So we do appreciate that effort. Here is this one's pretty good too, as well. There's some more propaganda. Homeland Security, think about how many criminal illegal aliens you could fit inside this bad boy. The king of clubs. That is a nice spacious cab in that old, is that a old Ford van there? And so, want to deport illegals with your absolute boys? Join ICE.gov. Arson attack on ICE field office in Washington. Feds say suspect smashed windows, then lit a fire out back. Photos show flames and black smoke rising above the fence. Let's go to those images. An attack on the ICE facility there in Washington State. They broke a window and they set that fire there. So That's about all for the ICE section. Okay, on to what you're talking about. You can tell us your Newsom here, but the look this way, look that way, don't talk about Epstein continues here with the fake left-right Republican Democrat false left-right paradigm going on here. Now there's this big controversy over redistricting. Everybody's jumping into it because Texas Democrats have fled the state, so they can't have quorum in their legislature there to vote on redistricting. Here's a report. Let's hear this from ABC News. Surprisingly, doing some good work.
And as you know, that means that there is other legislation that's going to be the victim of that. And that includes this bill for flood assistance for those Texans who were impacted by those devastating floods on July 4th. Are you concerned that all of this could ultimately be a mistake if that legislation also becomes a victim of this?
This is a Republican talking point. I'm concerned that Greg Abbott decided to play politics with flood victims and their families. The only emergency that we should be coming to the state capitol to address is flood mitigation and disaster prevention. That's what Texans want us to focus on. It's why my Democratic colleagues and I showed up on the first day of the special legislative session 2 weeks ago. We begged our Republican colleagues to prioritize flood victims and their families, and they refused.
But the reality is, but Representative, the reality is the consequence of the decision, regardless of whether or not it's a talking point, is that this bill is not going to advance. Is that a bad thing if this bill doesn't advance?
And who put flood mitigation after redistricting on the agenda?
The Republicans. They control the floor. Exactly. They have made that decision. Exactly. But there will be consequences to your decision here too, will there not?
And you know why they did that is so that they could play politics with those flood victims, so that they could pressure us to give away our constituents' voices in the democratic process. They're using flood victims to try to get us to agree to these corrupt maps so they can rig the next election. We are not willing to sacrifice the American experiment. We begged them to prioritize flood victims, and they refused to do so. This is cynical politics at its worst.
So that battle's going on. New York jumped in. Of course, California, you know that Newsom had to jump in. What do you got on Newsom before we get to praising him for being the great info warrior that he is now? He takes time out of running the great state of California to be an info warrior on X, we see here. What do you got on Newsom? He's a great hero. I'm modeling my hair after his.
Yeah, Gavin Newsom is now being accused of fraud, financial fraud, once again, manipulating for the fires there, taking aid. We got a video here. We will play here 2 minutes. See if we can get the
Oh, dirty Gavin Newsom, I caught you. So a couple days ago, I had posted about a congressman calling for the investigation of the fire aid money. There was a fundraiser that was created and over $100 million was raised towards direct relief to the fire victims in LA. This letter was sent to Pam Bondi to ask for the investigation of where the funds went. People like Spencer Pratt, this guy has been very loud about the fact that none of the fire victims, including him and his wife, have received any funds. And he came out with a video calling out the fact that it's been discovered that Gavin Newsom and a nonprofit that his wife is tied to took some of the relief funds. And this is where we revealed the shady Newsom. So being who I am, I just don't take anything at a surface level on social media. I decided to go to the fire aid website, where it does display that a total of $75 million has been given out of the $100 million. And I clicked on round 2. It starts off with this one where it talks about how $700,000 was given for critical information for fire victims. Then when you scroll down, you do see Cal Volunteers, which is an organization that got a grant that took some of the money. I need you to pay attention to the one beneath it that says Center for Nonprofit Management. Remember that. This story started gaining more traction and more coverage started hitting this because you go to Cal Volunteer and you check out the commission. Guess who is the honorary chair? That's right, Jennifer Newsom. Guys, Gavin Newsom's wife. She is the honorary chairman of Cal Volunteer. Decided to go back to the fire aid website and guess what is conveniently missing on the list of people that got grants on round 2. Remember how I told you Center for Nonprofit Management? Below that and above that was Cal Volunteer. But today on the website, if you go search round 1 and round 2, somehow Cal Volunteer disappeared from the list of people that got grants. Now what appears above Center for Nonprofit Management is California Local Conservation Corps. Yes, you can scour through that list. You're not going to find Cal Volunteer on there anymore. What are you hiding, New Scum? We already figured it out that your wife is leading one of the nonprofits that got the grant. So we already know you took the money from the fire victim. You refused to bring voter ID back to get federal funding to the fire victim. So when you're out there on the campaign trail talking about how much you care about Californians, you're lying. We caught you lying. We're stealing from the fire victim. You somehow conveniently got the name deleted off the website. You are trash, Gavin Newscom.
So
well,
and
that white girl's clearly racist against Newsom. So
yeah, we definitely support diversity, equity, and inclusion here on Weaponized News. Hopefully, we can get some of that beginning over at Palantir, where they've decided to hire only these Talmudic Zionist Jews, and everybody else is out. Right to this supremacy, race supremacy stuff. Hopefully, let's get some DEI over at Palantir, but they didn't want it, and they forced Trump to get rid of it. They don't want it in their companies. They don't want it in their countries, and America is one of them. So join ICE, but maybe if they have some more of their refugees from the conflict there, they can bring in some more of these Russians and Eastern Europeans posing as Jewish people, just like the government of Aardvarkville there, that's flattened all of Palestine. Maybe they can bring in some more of these Eastern Bloc people pretending to be Jewish people into America and put them to work at ICE. But I think the salary at ICE can't pay them enough.
No, they're all settlers in the West Bank. That's where they go. Okay, yeah.
The salary, I think, of ICE is too low for them, since they have the highest salaries and net worths in America. Their net worth is the data that has come out, 46 to other estimates up 80% more than the number 2 ethnic group of Americans, which is Indian Americans, in terms of net worth, growing net worth and salaries. They're 40 to 80% above the massive gap, the disparity of gap between number 1 in household net worth in ethnic group to the second. And these statistics are deleted everywhere, interestingly enough. So they remove the Jewish American net worth and data because they're so far ahead. That might cause anti-Septicism. So they want to be anti-Septicism and remove all of the data, so you can't even see what's going on. Thanks, Talmud.
It's fair. Okay, let's go back to Newsom, the info warrior. Yeah, his wife's the head of an aid org. His wife slept with Weinstein for a movie role, allegedly. So they're good people. Here's Newsom being the info. Here's Newsom being the info warrior that he is, replying to this clown, MAGA shill, DC Drano, and they're trying to make it's the distraction about the districting here now. And so blue states with 0 Republican House seats, and he names these blue states, and then Newsom replies, "Oh, cool, I can do that too. Red states with 0 Dem House seats." And so now we're being sucked back into Republican Democrat bullshit when it's all the government. Here is this one from Newsom. Can you believe the governor of the state of California published F around and find out video here?
Around, the more you're going to find out.
Newsom posted that on his X account. Very professional of him. And now this one. So are you for a national ban on gerrymandering? Reposting old Mr. aardvark out of Texas there, Abbott. Let's watch this video.
For example, I think Donald Trump won in all 5 of these seats that we will be making Republican seats. The same thing should apply in all those other states, Sean, that you mentioned in your monologue, where you pointed out the gross gerrymandering in these blue states have rejected Republican candidates for office that should be serving those states, should be serving our country. It's the gerrymandering in the blue states that has distorted the politics in America.
All right, Governor, good for you. Good for the fight. We'll see if these guys.
Isn't everything gerrymandered for aardvark land? It sure seems like that. And then, of course, that was the post from Newsom. So are you for a national ban on gerrymandering? He sure is doing a lot of info warrior work here. There you go. So we do appreciate the efforts of Gavin Newsom and his hair there. I don't know what's going to happen to his political career as he's terming out of office. So yeah, the back and forth, look over there, but don't look at Epstein. Okay, something, we got the energy section here now, Thomas. Wind projects are known to kill eagles, and climate extremists in the Biden administration still greenlit scores of these projects. The Department of Interior is enforcing the Bald Eagle Protection Act to ensure that our national bird is not sacrificed for unreliable wind facilities. So they're shutting down the windmills here for the eagles, of course. There you go. Memo from the Department of Interior there. Continuing here, Department of Interior eliminated a Green New Deal scam regulation that required us to regularly update a 5-year offshore wind leasing schedule. With Trump, we're restoring flexibility, cutting red tape, and returning decision-making to what serves the American people, not bureaucratic timelines. And so they're freeing up some more Rockefeller oil for us. And so we do appreciate those efforts on polluting the environment. Here is Nightmare out of China. They're rolling out their robot dog. And this is, well, let's take a look here. Their version of the, what is it? That joint out of Boston Dynamics. We've seen their robot dogs. Here's a very similar Chinese robot dog. Unitree unleashes new hunter dog robot, and to be weaponized against you sooner than you may think. Let's watch this clip of our dystopic future. So that's exciting once they fully weaponize that. I'm sure they already have.
Yeah, that's a Trump said he doesn't want the hydrogen cars because they can be bombs. They can be used as improvised explosive devices, which is true. Certainly they could be. But I would say that this is far more dangerous than the hydrogen cars, no question about it.
What about they want to build mini nuke plants everywhere? That seems pretty damn dangerous to me as well.
Well, hey, what could be better in all of these climate fires made by these Antifa arsonists, right, on video, bringing their jerry cans everywhere to light the fires everywhere. You know, it's for the greater good. I mean, what could be better than sticking a bunch of nuclear plants in these storm areas in New York where it's flooding, in North Carolina where it's being flooded and totally destroyed, to all of these tornadoes across 16 states that happen every single year, and all of these storms and earthquakes. And what could be better? Let's put one underneath every single school, at every high school. What could be better than nuclear plants right over top of the water tables everywhere? Hey, let's fantastic.
Anything to power AI. Okay, so
we're already putting bioweapons into the food. I mean, let's add some nuclear on top of it.
The technocracy is naked. It already is, but it's going to really be naked. Here's Trump saying that Vice President Vance most likely going to run in 2028, and so there'll be there is no question now, but then it'll be naked. The direct link to Peter Thiel, Technocracy, Scientific Dictatorship, with Vance 2028 coming up here. Go MAGA, we love America. Here's Trump talking about that.
You said this morning that you probably won't be running for a third term. This weekend, Secretary of State Rubio said that he thought J.D. Vance would be a great nominee. You could clear the entire Republican field right now. Do you agree that the heir apparent to MAGA is J.D. Vance?
Well, I think most likely, in all fairness, he's the vice president. I think Marco is also somebody that maybe would get together with J.D. in some form. I also think we have incredible people, some of the people on the stage right here. So it's too early, obviously, to talk about it, but certainly he's doing a great job, and he would be probably favored at this point.
You better believe that's going to be their man.
Yeah, what could be better than Les Wexner's bitch there underneath, funded by Peter Thiel, who's Mr. Compromat, who said everybody's compromised, and that's the guy that he brought up.
That's a new word. You got the new word of the week, or last week, compromat, right? So we have to say that word. Apparently, it's just called their pieces of shit. But yeah, if you want to be more,
wouldn't never Trump or J.D. Vance have compromat on him when he's literally Peter Thiel's guy? And Peter Thiel, he said everybody's got compromat on them. He certainly did not exclude J.D. Vance.
Of course, that
the drag queen that still wears the mascara, right?
And then more of our great technocratic scientific dictator future. Christine Lagarde, president of European Central Bank, touts digital coin. It's being tested on a large scale in China. It is useful and provides services to all citizens. And so, isn't this wonderful? Let's hear from old Christine Lagarde.
Many people are a little worried about what will happen to them with the digital euro. Can you encourage them? Why is the digital euro good for people like you and me?
A digital currency where it has been piloted, and there is only one which is clearly now launched in a very small country, but it is piloted on a fairly large scale in China, is of use and of service to all citizens. So it is not something that is good for the elite, or is good for the young, or is good for some versus others. If it is well done and if it is well implemented, it would be of service to all citizens.
Many people are...
See, they care about all the citizens. What do you think about this comment by Denver? He says that intent is malicious, humanity at large is a liability to those assholes, so they are seeking to trade away humanity for AI by rationing humanity out of existence to feed AI. Huh? Yeah, sounds about right to me.
Yeah, they want their slaves back. They're all over these videos everywhere across the world talking about how, right, they intend to have 2,800 slaves each, all of these rabbis everywhere, and that they're entitled to it, and they're going to get it. They're hell-bent on this. And now you have, right.
They are God's chosen people. If your God is Satan.
Right, you have Aardvark land, probably you'll get to it. The intentions, they're storming the Al-Aqsa Mosque, if you will, and talking about
covered that yesterday. Yeah, Ben Gvir, he wants to provoke the Muslims to do something by desecrating their holy site there, for sure, 100%.
Yeah, they're going to clear it. They're going to clear it out. I mean, they just totally eliminated.
They
all
have
of
to build the third temple, Solomon's temple. There,
they mass murdered hundreds of thousands of these people and women and children and cleared them out. If you think that they're not going to clear the temple here quickly, you're fooling yourself. They're definitely going to do that.
We'll see. We'll see if the Arabs, it would be Muslims. We'll see if they would. I don't see how they don't do World War Z style, just total overrun the whole area. But we shall see. Maybe, I'm sure they've gamed it out and strategized how they're going to bring about this prophecy from God that's totally engineered by the aardvarks. But okay. And
one more comment on Christine Lagarde. What could possibly be better than convicted criminals, convicted financial criminals like Christine Lagarde, literally running and controlling the entire financial system, where she gets to decide, right, who gets to have their hard-earned money or not, and just expiring money, and it'll expire whenever they feel like it. Hey, did you make an anti-Semitic tweet or something like that? Bye-bye all of your money, right?
Are you antiseptic? We're going to have to flush your funds down the toilet.
Right. They just take it for themselves, confiscate it. Or they'll give it as a grant to victims of anti-Semitism, as they're doing.
There you go. There you go. Okay, on to the economy section here. The One Big Beautiful Bill is bringing Trump accounts to American newborns. The federal government will put $1,000 into child's accounts. Where'd they get that from? Oh, it's a snake biting their own tail. They got it from taxing us. The federal government will put $1,000 into children's accounts. I don't want $1,000. I don't want it in some government account. If the maximum contribution is made each year on the child's birthday through the age of 17, the account could grow between, and listen to the range they give us here, quite a range, could grow between $191,000 to $676,000. Let's hear this report about it. It just seems all bad to me. You should take control of your own child.
Until Christine Lagarde cancels your money for making a tweet, that is.
Watching the best Fox 10 News.
President Trump's big, beautiful bill could create a nest egg for newborn babies. The so-called Trump account is expected to provide one.
You like the old pyramid with the all-seeing? Isn't that a cult symbolism? Isn't that wonderful?
$1,000 per child.
But is that really what families will end up with? Fox's Heather Sullivan explains what could happen to the accounts and the funds.
For babies born this year through 2028, the federal government will put $1,000 into a child's account that'll be invested until they turn 18. Parents and relatives can contribute up to $5,000 a year. If the maximum contribution is made each year on the child's birthday through age 17, the account could grow to between $191,000 and $676,000.
Total bullshit. They're just pulling those numbers out of the rear end.
Depending on how the investment performs. But if the money is left untouched until the child reaches 28, the Treasury Office of Tax Analysis projects it could grow to as much as $1.9 million or $600,000 on the low end.
A general rule of thumb in the financial business is that it's the rule of 72, and it simply says if you're earning about 7%, your money will double every 10 years. Or if you earn...
What the hell? Savings accounts earning 7%?
10%, it will double about every 7 years. So if you look at that compound effect and say if somebody's able to give it 10, 20, 30, 40 years to their own retirement and in that type of account, yeah, it doesn't take a whole lot early on to get that to grow to $1 million in the long run.
Even if the family doesn't make any contributions, the initial $1,000 could grow to between $3,000 and nearly $14,000 over the 18 years. And families can open an account and receive a $1,000 government investment for each child born between January 1st of this year and December 31st of 2028. A Social Security number is required to open the account, and the funds cannot be accessed until the child turns 18. Heather Sullivan.
See, they care about the youth of America there. What do you think about that, Thomas?
Well, another $1,000 from your government, you got to save for yourself. But here's the dichotomy that I've been talking about it again, that everybody has been frauded with the left-right paradigm so much that they can't even see anymore clearly, where they're telling you, you need to save for your own retirement. We're not going to do it for you. Here, we'll make this little program.
Well, it's already been announced that Social Security's out of money by what they take it down like 1 or 2 years every year backward. Right. So a couple of years here now, we're going to be.
So they're trying to encourage you to put money in there by doing this. Oh, it's bankrupt because we stole all the money from the Social Security to fund our foreign wars. The
whole thing's been a Ponzi scheme from the beginning.
Right. If it was properly managed, it could have done well, but of course it wasn't, and then it was raided, and then you have all these other issues. But here we raided it to pursue the genocide and supremacy for aardvark land, bombing 20 plus countries, genociding all these people. So, but they're telling you need to save for your retirement. We're not doing it for you. We're not going to be there for you, but we're going to print all of this money, right, at the Fed. And we're going to give it to our rich, super elite, totalitarian, technocratic genocidalists and supremacists as they're banning your accounts and throttling you and doing RICO criminal cartels against you, right? Doing this and destroying your businesses, so you won't even have the money to be able to put it in there, as then they go bankrupted. But they're definitely not going to print money at 0% interest rate, which they could do anytime they want to, and invest in American stocks on your behalf. No, they're going to require you, the slaves, to take your labor money and save it all by yourself. And if you don't, then you're going to be broke. So they're just siphoning even more money out of you to put into their programs, where then they can take that money and quote unquote invest it into their friends and family members, companies and corporations, right? So take your money to do it instead of taking the printed money from thin air. And people criticize, oh, they're just printing money out of thin air, which is bullcrap. But if they actually did that on your behalf, the citizens' behalf, that would be a wonderful thing. It would be a fantastic thing. That's what they should be using it for. However, the reason that they began the Fed, and it's literally stated in the documents, is to finance wars, is to finance foreign wars. That's what that was the purpose of it, instead of serving the public. And we got to get them to use those tools to serve the public instead of financing foreign wars and financing, right, the hijacking of all these countries for, right, world supremacy, and to get all these people 2,800 slaves each.
It's not going to happen, because they got a one world government agenda sworn to Satan to uphold, and they're going to go about that business. So you can't reform that system of central bank and cartel, Thomas. Sorry to tell you that. Okay, last, Trump threatens a 35% tariff on the European Union if they fail to fulfill investment commitments. Let's hear this one and get your take on this.
Teeth, though, are in those investments. What kind of teeth are in those investments that would force the EU to make those investments? If they don't make those investments, what happens on the other side?
Well, then they pay tariffs of 35%. No, they brought down their tariffs. So they paid $600 billion, and because of that, I reduced their tariffs from 30% down to 15%. And a couple of countries came, how come EU is paying less than us? And I said, well, because they gave me $600 billion. And that's a gift. That's not like, a loan, by the way. That's not a loan that, 3 years comes up, we have to pay it back. There's nothing to pay back. They gave us $600 billion that we can invest in anything we want.
the deal that
and nobody knows it, Becky. Nobody knows it because they don't know.
No, we have been trying to figure out the details on that, Mr. President. So
well, there are no
the
details.
Clarity on
the
that.
details are $600 billion to invest in anything I want. Anything.
Okay.
I can do anything I want with it. And the purpose was they've been,
I had that same problem. It's bullshit. You just heard them say it. There are no details because I was looking for the freaking document from the EU tariff deal. There is no document. It's just all a confidence game because Trump's a con man. Do people? Even CNBC's like, we're looking for the documents. Oh, well, there are no documents. So it's just all bullshit you made up. Okay, thank you, Mr. Con Man President.
Yeah, they make the agreement between them. And they went into the meeting, and Trump was talking right before they had the 1 hour meeting to talk about what trade deal are they going to do. He was saying he has no idea even if they're going to make any agreement, and there's been no terms and no discussions. And then they come to this discussion. They'll probably have this ironed out in some time, but they decided to make this agreement for now, and then in good faith, and then iron out the terms. And now Trump is saying, if they don't do it, so he's obviously saying, right, there's no details yet. He's talking about raising it back to 35% to penalize them, which is even more than what he began with, was 30%.
And on the back end, insiders, which Trump has bragged about, are making billions of dollars because they know what's going to be announced, and they front run everything. Total fraud on its face, and nobody gets in trouble. Let's go after Pelosi. Look at Pelosi insider trading. You know what I mean? And she's a criminal too, but they all are. Is the point I'm trying to make here.
And they're talking about for this new child investment scheme, talking about getting 7% a year in the stock market over time. I guess. Right? They don't want people following Pelosi's trades, making 45 to 50% a year.
That's what they should say. We're putting $1,000 in your kid's account and booking exactly what Pelosi trades on, and we're making $1 billion out of this deal.
Yeah, but they don't want anyone to know about that. They're all doing it themselves, right? So,
just such crooks. Okay, let's take our live commercial break now at the hour point here. Everybody go to weaponizednews.com. Get yourself some stickers over there. We got the holograph sticker. We got the white background sticker. And we have the clear sticker there for you. You can see right there. Go to weaponizednews.com. Go to the store. Get some stickers. We have some books over there. We have a donation button. If you don't want to buy anything, we like free money donations. In the description below this video is our Bitcoin wallet. We'll take some Bitcoin. If you have any laying around, we appreciate all the support, all the subscribers. We're blowing up on Substack right now. Still, the trend continues. Unlike all the other interweb platforms here that we're on, somehow, some way, Substack has taken the throttle off of Weaponized News, and daily we're gaining followers and subscribers there. So shout out to the Substack audience. We appreciate everybody tuning in on the Substack, surprisingly enough, until we get banned there for Thomas talking bad about aardvarks. Okay, let's go ahead and play the Abba Zaba Enterprises commercial, and we'll be back with Thomas's commercial.
Running a small business feeling overwhelmed by numbers and paperwork? Abba Zaba Enterprises has your back. Our expert business solutions include accounting, QuickBooks support, payroll, taxes, and top-notch consulting. Let us handle the details so you can focus on growing your business. Business Solutions Accounting, QuickBooks, Consulting, Payroll, Taxes. Call 559-577-9250. Call Abba Zaba Enterprises today at 559-577-9250 for stress-free solutions.
All right, we're back, Thomas. I noticed that you did that video today. You forgot to title it. Pitch. What's your pitch? What's your advertisement today?
Yeah, so I just began an open venture capital fund called the original aim was the YWAM Fund, because I want to coordinate with the Youth with a Mission, a Christian organization that has 18,000 volunteer staff around the world in 180 countries, educating and teaching Christians to go out into these developing countries like I'm doing and help people in there. And they have a business section, though it's not built out so large yet. So I decided to make the world's first Christian venture capital fund, because there isn't one. I've been looking, scouring the world for this, and there isn't one, and there's never been one, and who knows when there actually will be one. Can't find it, and it's very frustrating trying to raise capital, and no venture capital funds in Cambodia so far. So I decided, okay, I've had enough of this just absolute insanity. I'm going to make a venture capital fund. I'm going to open it up to the world, make it an open source VC, remote only, publicly distributed, where anyone can join and contribute. Anyone can invest, fund, donate, and we'll be funding social enterprises that are very fast to profit, sustainable businesses that are amongst the other 99% of humans. And let's get some of that DEI and actually fund Christians for once that have the ethics, the values, the transparency and accountability that everybody wants, and eliminate the risk, which is the cult, the woke culture, which is stealing and frauding in financial crime and cybercrime. $15 trillion a year now. You got like 15% of the world economy is being stolen from everybody. 15 trillion, $150 trillion in the last 10 years has been stolen by these people, the silicons of the world. Well, there's not even the very first venture capital fund for Christians, the people with the hardcore ethics that believe in doing the right thing when nobody's looking. So they forced my hand. I've had to start this, and now I'm airing this 2 meetings a week on Tuesday and Saturday at 10 a.m. Texas time, Tuesday and Saturday, 10 a.m. Texas time in America. Anybody can join. Please contact me to learn about it. And we're going to be airing the meetings on Google Meet. Here, I did the first one some hours ago, some technical difficulties because I'm not a video diva or a producer, but I'm learning it. I'll learn and improve every single time. So I welcome everybody who wants to learn about angel investing or early stage investing, where you can grow your wealth or even just contribute and earn some shares in these amazing startups, help to change the world, help to start this movement. And my idea is to copy this fund eventually. So we build a fund, a successful fund, and then we'll copy that again. And then hopefully, I would love to see that integrated into the YWAM organization. Either they take it over, or we build one for them, help them build one, or maybe they will just like this idea and do it on their own. Whatever it is, it'd be fantastic. So just in respect, since I don't yet have total approval from the YWAM organization to do this officially for them, so I've changed the name to AOE BAM Fund from YWAM BAM Fund, just in respect for them, until we get a full approval. But please reach out. So we're going to fill this with a bunch of members, get 30 core team members, raise a fund there, and start funding some fast to profit companies like Alpha Omega Energy and others in these massive demand vacuum locations and sectors of a real industry, real economy, instead of this fake intelligence bullshit that they will only fund and one check to profit business models. And there's no shortage of that all over the world. The world needs 50 million, the world needs 6 million more venture capital funds to fund the 50 million new founders every single year coming out, and 99.9997% of them will never get a deal in their lives. It's one of the biggest career opportunities, business opportunities, and investment opportunities in the world right now. It is such a vacuum of demand for this. They're talking about, hey, we need 50,000 people for ICE. We need 10 million people in the venture capital industry.
10,000 for ICE.
More.
You know, I heard today is that art history degree jobs are more readily available than computer science degree jobs. And so you're going to have a lot of smart people out there with computer science degrees that are getting fired, laid off because of AI. And so that pool of people may be a target you want to go after. And they're also disgruntled against the silicon now at this point. And so there's going to be a large pool of smart people, computer scientists out there looking, what do we do now after I've been fired by the same company I helped build up to build this AI to take my job? Just throwing that out there. Here is,
if they're not aardvarks, if they don't have that bloodline, they're not going to get hired.
Only aardvarks can prosper on this planet because they're God's chosen people.
Indian immigrants under the H-1B visas, etc. I mean, they're certainly welcome to cut costs, right?
Quickly before we move on here, what's our next section? Oh, Epstein section. We can't forget. But the old Denver reminded us that Pelosi's way down the list here. So we want our fund to be following this guy, David Roser. He's getting a 149% return on his investments. Weighted percentage change of Congress portfolios in 2024. I don't even know where this guy's. He's basically a young Warren Buffett. He's been called. And then of course your favorite aardvark there, Debbie Wasserman Schultz. And you could go down the list, but poor old Pelosi scores way down here. She's only getting a 70.9% return on her portfolio based on the data available here. And so we will be recommending that the American Children's Fund follow these great American investors in Congress front running on insider trading deals. Thank you, Denver, for posting that link in the chat. So we want nothing but the best for the American youth here. Okay, moving on off of that section into Epstein, I saw this. And by the way, show reminder, on Monday, we're going to have Johnny Vedmore to do a deep dive, and he's going to tell you the stuff that you don't even want to know about Epstein because, like I said, they said don't talk about it, and we're not going to stop talking about it. But here is the this meme I like. The left is like, Jeffrey Epstein is going to take down Trump. The right is like, Jeffrey Epstein is going to take down Clinton. And I'm just here like, the fact that a current and former president have ties to a pedophile should tell you everything you need to know about the current state of U.S. politics. Isn't that the truth there? Meme from the Free Thought Project. Isn't that the truth? Truly disgusting. It's the government. Words of wisdom now about Epstein from none other than knowing Pedo himself, old Pedo Pete, as he affectionately called his father, Biden, Hunter Biden. It's so bad we're getting words of wisdom about Epstein from Hunter Biden. Let's now hear this clip.
Jeffrey Epstein was a pedophile that it came into enormous wealth by very mysterious circumstances and had connections across the globe to very, very powerful people. And he was murdered right before it was all about to blow up. And now there supposedly are no files that the American people can see to explain all of that.
I don't understand why the Jeffrey Epstein case would be of interest to anybody. It's pretty boring stuff.
I mean, it's crazy. Like, do I think that there's an actual list? No, I don't think that there's an actual list. I don't think that he was that stupid. But do I think that what they do have implicates him? Yeah, I think so. You know? Mm-hmm. I mean, Epstein introduced Melania to Trump. The connections are like so wide and deep. Anyway, why do we think they don't want the files released? I don't know. I think John, that thing that John Howling says is like a long time ago. I think is the most accurate kind of assessment of them, which is everything is projection or confession. Everything. So when he puts out that tweet, he says Epstein now is the Russia hoax or the Hunter Biden laptop.
The laptop from hell, which the Democrats swore came from Russia. No, it came from Hunter Biden's bathroom.
Like, I wonder if it works. Do you know what I mean? When he says to his followers, like, you're no supporter of mine if you keep talking about Epstein.
Yeah. What do you think was in the files?
Wow. I mean, it's just what a spin job. And what a time to be a leftist. Right, and here you literally have pictures all over the internet of Hunter Biden doing pornography, literally doing pornography, and I've seen it. I've seen these, and they're available on the internet on these by these.
He had his own Pornhub account uploading the stuff to it. It's
right. But let me finish this. So you got him in pornography with minors.
Not the kind with not with a light on their hat, underage. You mean, right?
And with his own family members, minors in his own family. So pedophilia and inbreeding in his own family on video and the images of this, and the guy's still not arrested. And yet
he got a pardon from President Biden.
Yeah, he's still not arrested under Trump. 7 months later, he's still not arrested, right? I mean, what an absolute joke. So
he's part of the whole. It's all one big giant satanic circle. He's part of it as well.
So coming back to Les Wexner, who now J.D. Vance is supposed to be the president who Thiel made, and Thiel said, everybody's got compromat on them. He did not say, oh, everybody but J.D. Vance. J.D. Vance is the one guy who doesn't have any compromat on him. You can be okay with him. He did not say that. And Wexner made Trump. Wexner made J.D. Vance. Wexner, and then J.D. Vance, Wexner made Thiel. Thiel makes J.D. Vance. And Wexner made Ramaswamy as well. And Wexner had all of the pinhole cameras everywhere, and that was going to Ehud Barak, all of the videos, according to Epstein, who was saving all of this for Les Wexner. And then, of course, Epstein was in business together with this pinhole camera IoT, Internet of Things, so transferring the data over the internet. He was in the business with that, started with Ehud Barak for years. So where was the data going? And Epstein testified to all of these different witnesses, these girls, these prostitute girls and underage girls that they were doing all of this with, testified that Epstein said that he saving all of this for Les Wexner. That's why he's doing it. And who made Epstein? Les Wexner gave him the properties, the many properties, gave him all of the money, and then collectively done with Bill Barr's father, and so on. And the reason that none of this is coming out, folks, is because he's a protected asset. He's not only an official FBI informant, according to the documents and agreements in his first case, which is why he got the slap on the wrist. It literally said that in the documents of the case, that he's a protected FBI informant. And that's why they can't release any of these files, because he's a protected FBI informant.
He's an intelligent asset. Yeah, intelligence asset for sure, 100%.
Yeah, and they don't ever reveal their sources and methods, and it's illegal for them to do that, and they need DOJ approval to do that, and they won't ever give DOJ approval for that. So these documents, they will never see the light of day. It's never going to come out because this is like they will never release this JFK stuff fully, which, you have all of this redacted material, even for JFK still to this day. And this is the same level of operational security, operational intelligence. They're never going to release it, folks. So it's really disgusting. It's really just super evil. And and one of the reasons they're not going to release it is because they don't want to.
It implicates them. It implicates the intelligence agencies. It implicates the U.S. federal government.
Right. So many of them. Many of them that they're like, okay, this is a total existential destruction of the American system and government. And who's going to run the government? This is said even by the mainstream media people. Who's going to run the government if we allow this to be out?
Almost think of it. How the Republican Speaker of the House, Dennis Hastert, was a convicted freaking child molester. Think of it, right? And it just goes on and on and on. Here is Juliette Bryant, one of Jeffrey Epstein's victims, claims that the famed director Michael Bay was one of the guests that she saw on Epstein's island back in 2004, just before he made his cloning-themed film, The Island. Let's hear her testimony. She's also warned that some Epstein victims have been dying under suspicious circumstances. It's fine. Let's hear from one of Epstein's victims here.
My name is Juliet Grimes. I was kidnapped by Jeffrey Epstein 21 years ago. I'm 41 years old now. This happened when I was 20. I met him when he was in Africa with Bill Clinton. I was taken there to model and soon kidnapped to the island. I was taken to all the properties over an 18-month period. Many unexplained things happened to me there. I've been trying to write a book about it. Not trying to make money, but trying to help share information and also looking for answers. The media is lying. Epstein's accomplice, Maxwell's family, used to own the media. It's not the victims lying, it's the media lying. Also, some of the victims have been dying suspiciously, such as Carolyn, who testified against Maxwell. She died and it took the media 6 months to speak about it. I saw at least 60 girls when I was there over the time, but I didn't see any girls being trafficked to other men. I also wasn't trafficked to other men, but I did see scientists there. I also met Michael Bay, the movie producer. He made a movie about cloning, The Island, the movie is called. He made the movie in 2005, and I met him in 2004 at Epstein's New Mexico ranch. He denied being there, but I saw him there. Epstein worked with the CIA and Israeli Mossad, and so did Maxwell and Wexner apparently. Epstein told me he worked with CIA. Michael Bay also apparently met with the CIA.
Remember the New Mexico Zorro Ranch, where they were reportedly doing all kinds of eugenics experiments, possibly cloning experiments as well.
And he was involved with, of course, Harvard on this as well. Eugenics programs integrated into there with massive funding for these eugenics programs. Big money into that. And running a huge data project to collect data, genomic data and DNA data, etc., for this purpose as well, right?
John on the Rumble says, who's going to run the government? I would walk in there and take over at president and run the country better than anyone since Nixon. I believe you probably would, John.
But you're not related to them, John, you see. You're not related. You're not part of the family. So,
true. Every president except for Martin Van Buren is part of the same bloodline for president of America here. Anybody can be president, though, they tell you, as we've reported here at Weaponized News, as exposed by a high school student doing a genealogy project over summer vacation. That video is still on the interwebs to go and take a look at.
Right. And according to the mainstream media, that's all. It's conspiracy theory on the internet.
Okay, let me blast through today's headlines about Epstein, and then we'll get to the mashup summary and critical points here to give everybody where we're at here. Leaked FBI document reveals Jeffrey Epstein's secret history as an FBI informant. That one, I threw that in the mix. This is a Substack article, a good deep dive. We'll give you the highlights here in a second. Trump seems suspiciously open to pardon for Ghislaine Maxwell. Huh, I don't know why. House committee issues subpoenas for Epstein files, depositions with Clinton and other officials. Bill and Hillary Clinton, former AGs and FBI directors subpoenaed for Jeffrey Epstein testimony. And then let me read you the mashup using the old AI here of all this.
Why wouldn't you pardon the woman who introduced you to your wife?
That's a good point. They're good friends. Key themes from today's most recent reporting tells us that leaked FBI documents confirming Epstein's role as an informant predating his 2007 plea deal, his fears of violence and suicide in prison, subpoenas issued by the House Oversight Committee to former President Bill Clinton and Secretary of State, the biggest gangster in American history, Hillary Clinton. Props for that, Hillary. Ex-FBI directors, attorney generals, and the DOJ for Epstein-related files, and debates over potential pardons or immunity for his accomplice, Ghislaine Maxwell. Discussions that touch on Epstein's ties to intelligence, blackmail allegations involving tapes or memories of events with figures like Donald Trump, and criticisms of latent past deals that protected him and his associates. These developments underscore demands for transparency amid public disapproval and survivors' calls for justice. And the top 10 points we can pull out is Epstein as an FBI informant. Well, it implicates the FBI now, doesn't it, in going along with child rape, amongst other crimes. As I continue to tell you on this show, the U.S. federal government, known as the crime syndicate running the world, are the big criminals here now, aren't they? Epstein, as an FBI informant, leaked FBI documents from 2008 file reveal Jeffrey Epstein provided information to the FBI as part of an agreement suggesting his informant status predated his controversial 2007 non-prosecution deal, which granted him and co-conspirators immunity, prison fears, and death. Epstein was terrified of being labeled a child molester in prison. I don't know why, because we'd get more justice out of hardcore felons in prison than we do from our, quote, justice system. I added that part, but it's the damn truth. Faced harassment, extortion, and poor treatment at the Metropolitan Correctional Facility there in New York, and expressed suicidal thoughts with theories suggesting his suicide was enabled or forced. Subpoenas to high-profile figures. I saw a funny post about this. Okay, so the high-profile Bill and Hillary Clinton, James Comey, and Robert Mueller. Of course, he was head of the FBI during 9/11, helped cover up 9/11, and now he's in a dementia home for the, losing thoughts there in your elder age. And so burn in hell there, Robert Mueller, for all your crimes against America, and his crimes against America as FBI director are legion. Everybody should go look it up. And attorney generals, including Merrick Garland and Bill Barr, for depositions on Epstein's case, alongside demands for unredacted DOJ files by August 19th, 2025. We'll see what the DOJ has to say to the House Oversight Committee, allegedly overseeing these type of things, representing the people. Ghislaine Maxwell's interviews and immunity. Maxwell, serving a 20-year sentence, was interviewed for 9 hours by Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche last month under limited immunity, answering questions about 100 people. She demands full immunity and pre-submitted questions before testifying amid her Supreme Court appeal. Potential pardon for Maxwell. President Trump has not ruled out pardoning Maxwell, described as Epstein's real enforcer and groomer by survivors, prompting criticism that it would be repugnant to victims, and questions about Trump's knowledge of their crimes. Connections to prominent figures. Epstein's associates include, again, Bill Clinton, Prince Andrew, Barack, the aardvark guy, William Burns, not to be confused with, or isn't it William Burns? He was used to be the head of the CIA under old Biden. Oh, strangely enough. Trump ended his friendship over alleged staff poaching. That's the news story they're spinning now, right? But allegations persist of his presence at Epstein events in the 90s. Latent 2007 plea deal facilitated by Alex Acosta, and he already told us that he couldn't do anything because intelligence told him back off. He's an agent. He's an asset. The deal reduced charges to state level, allowed 13 months of work release, and immunized co-conspirators. Acosta claimed he was told Epstein, quote, belonged to intelligence, blackmail and tape allegations, references to Maxwell potentially erasing mental videotapes of Trump and Epstein teenage gruel parties, and a 1990s indictment involving Trump at a Manhattan involving Trump at a Manhattan event hint to a protective measure or incriminating records. No client list evidence. July 2025 DOJ and FBI memo found no credible evidence of an Epstein client list implicating associates, despite earlier suggestions and acknowledgments of over 1,000 victims impacted. And finally, public and survivor demands. High public demand, 60% per a recent Quinnipiac poll of the administration's handling of the Epstein files. Survivors like Virginia Guthrie, who died by, quote, suicide a few months back, and families demand answers with calls for transparency and further investigation into government protection of Epstein. So there you go. And Monday, again, we're bringing on Johnny Vedmore, and he's been doing the deep reporting about that. So
and there's been a couple Mossad agents, officials, ex, and seemingly even one current that has now come out and said on video that Epstein was Mossad. So you have a testimony from Mossad agents and officials that are also saying that he was Mossad.
You have the U.S. Attorney General saying that he's intelligence. You can't mess with him, right? So, I mean, I think it's pretty well established here now that yes, indeed. And he's an FBI informant. So the FBI knew damn well what was going on there, child rape, and they let it happen for whatever blackmail information he could give them and inform on and set up whoever they wanted. And so that's
and literally hiding all of the material in secret rooms in the FBI headquarters, illegally tampering with, you could say illegally tampering with information in this regard. But it's, this corruption system where their hands are tied in sources and methods, and we can't release any information on an active ongoing investigation. So you have this massive dragnet that's filtering all of this stuff out. And as I've said on Weaponized News before, I've seen compromat on Trump. Very clearly, there were pinhole cameras or some other cameras that got naked photos of Trump in some kind of spa, salon, something where he's getting a massage from some woman and he's clearly naked. Probably he didn't take those pictures of himself by himself. Is he that arrogant like Hunter Biden or something? I don't know, but I've seen that personally, and that's been completely scrubbed off the internet, but that's dark web stuff that's out there. Probably.
But Trump was well aware of the game there, the same game run by his mentor, Roy Cohen, in New York City for, you know what I mean? And so.
Yeah, and people were trying to get Trump. They were trying to, to compromise him. And some of Cohen's generals, these Jewish mafia gangsters around him, were even on phone calls, which had been leaked, the recorded calls that supposedly they were trying to compromise Trump for a bunch of years and they couldn't do it. They said that this guy's uncorruptible.
Well, he was hip to the game. It's not that he's uncorruptible. He's hip to their game is what it is.
Yeah, it's, at some point in time, probably he certainly realized this and went super tight, closed off all of these people from what he was doing and got a lot more protective, understood, how they do things and what they do and the way that they do it. But still, he was quite older in these spa photos that I've seen. It doesn't look like anything that far out of the ordinary, actually. But very clearly, somebody got a spy camera or a pinhole camera, and that was probably attempted by 1,000 different directions on Trump, and is attempted in 1,000 different directions on probably every politician that we have, every honeypot, every sting effort possible. I mean. They literally, you got thousands of people sending Alex Jones pornography, spamming him in his email box or whatever it is. And then this corrupt criminal.
They sent the whole Pentagon. They sent it to the whole Pentagon.
Saying that he, he's in possession of this material,
Mm-hmm.
and he has no idea what is actually in his email box that's been sent to him by all of these spammers, right?
The whole Pentagon got CP sent to them to compromise them all. There, you do what the military-industrial complex says at the Pentagon, or we're saying that you're a child molester. I mean, that's the level that we're at. If people can remember that story. Okay, let's move on now from that Epstein saga. It will continue. We're not going to let the story die, as many others are not, just because Trump said to. We're going to do the opposite of Mr. President Man over there at the Wrestling Federation of DC. Anyway, continuing here on to public health. We got to watch our words as not to violate community guidelines. Thomas on the YouTube here, but Maha wins here, and we do. Let me. I'll give you the good news here. Here's the good news up front, and then we'll get into the rest of it. This is from the Associated Press, but we'll still speak in code as to not violate community guidelines. This just broke like an hour before we came on the air. Health Secretary Bobby Kennedy Jr. to cancel $500 million in miracle development projects. The Department of Health and Human Services will cancel contracts and pull funding from some miracles that are being developed to fight respiratory diseases like the bats and the other bats. Robert Kennedy Jr., the Health Secretary and longtime miracle critic, announced in a statement today that $500 million worth of miracle development projects using mRNA technology will be halted. The projects, 22 of them, are being led by some of the nation's leading pharmaceutical companies like Pfizer and Moderna to prevent all these bat problems that everybody has with breathing, allegedly. The mRNA miracles are credited with slowing the 2020 bat problems that we had. It's laughable at this point. It's sad. It's extremely, it's horrific, but you got to laugh to keep from crying. Last part of this report, Kennedy said in the Tuesday statement that he wants the health department to move away from mRNA miracles, calling on the department to start investing in better solutions. He provided no details on what those technologies might be. So this is actually very good news. We'll see what to make of it, but it is a move in the right direction. And we have him on this bicycle. He says Maha wins, and he's riding a stationary bike here. So let's watch this short clip. And that, of course, is in regards to your SNAP benefits are no longer going to be able to buy junk food. Your tax dollars shouldn't be used to make Americans sick. That's why the health department, federal health department, we'll just call them here, are prioritizing SNAP waivers as part of their mission to make America healthy again. SNAP stands for Supplemental Nutritional Assistance Program. It helps millions of Americans buy groceries, but not all food is created equal. New waivers are making health a priority. Who's leading this effort? Of course, it's Brooke Rollins at USDA and Bobby Kennedy at HHS. Problem: sugary drinks, candy, ultra-processed food. The solution: SNAP waivers block junk food from being purchased with SNAP, encourage diets with whole nutritional food, support better health outcomes for families. Why it matters: people have the freedom to eat whatever they want, but Americans shouldn't have to fit the bill for food that hurts public health and unright and underwrite healthcare for the conditions it creates. So yeah, they're pulling, let's see, what are the state, we got it right here. Here's their little map that they published. And so you can no longer in these states, because the states have jumped on board, buy junk food with your welfare benefits. USDA has approved waivers for 6 additional states, giving them the flexibility to restrict the purchase of non-nutritious items with SNAP benefits. You can see right here all of the states jumping on board with that. Most recently, state waivers have been issued to West Virginia, Florida, Colorado, Louisiana, Oklahoma, and Texas to remove unhealthy foods from SNAP. What do you make of all this, Thomas?
Well, you could just put mRNA into the food, which is exactly what they're doing and what they're talking about doing, integrating it right directly into the food. So there's the quote-unquote new technologies that Kennedy, you notice how they're criticizing him. Oh, you know, he's not suggesting any new technologies. There's got to be some chemical plant, Rockefeller oil field toxic chemical plant that is changing people's DNA, literally. There has to be something like that technologies. Otherwise, he's anti-technology and he's not giving us any solution for the future. You know, we can't actually have real actual health, real actual natural health. Couldn't possibly have that technology, right? The real technology. Couldn't possibly have that solution. Let's put more mRNA into the food. Let's put it into everything, right? Well, the WHO uses naturopaths and admits on yet even more videos that none of them take any of these injections themselves, and they're all exempt.
Well, they should all be banned, like we were, off of the interwebs for any criticism of public health policy during the medical intervention period. Here is and talk about our blood supply, dare I say, is polluted here now, compromised. They have compromat on the blood supply, for crying out loud, here now. But the old Bhattacharya, he's donating his blood is one of the simplest, most powerful ways to make a difference. And here he is pushing to donate blood in the compromised blood supply here, America and the whole wide world. What do you think of this, Thomas?
Well, I noticed as he's donating blood, there's no conspiracy theorists there, any of these alternative health doctors testing his blood to see if he actually got any of these injections. You notice how that's always missing. There's never been a single validation of this ever to test any of these officials who are all exempted to show and prove, right, to these independents, these skeptics that will go through everything on the other side to satisfy themselves that these people have taken it. And of course, none of them have.
Well, you're just anti-science. Okay, let's move on to, okay, so it was announced a big trade deal with old Australia. They're going to take U.S. meat. Not so much, because, you know, they know about the whole deal, but they're doing it there too. But anyway, no plans. Aussie supermarkets, fast food giants reject U.S. beef. Let's listen to this report after it was touted all last week as a great achievement by the Trump administration. Well,
what do you mean they don't accept mRNA injected meat?
They didn't say that, but
Labor's decision to relax biosecurity restrictions on US beef being imported to Australia has renewed fears of herd animal diseases that could decimate the industry. Many in our beef supply chain believe sacrificing our biosecurity for continued access to the American market is not worth the risk.
At Roxburgh Feedlot on Queensland's Western Downs, cattle from across the country come for a few weeks of final fattening fodder. Their health on arrival and when heading on to the meatworks is ensured by Australia's strong biosecurity.
We can move freely within our, area, state, country because we have such good biosecurity. So to compromise that would come at enormous cost.
Australia's biosecurity could be compromised, stakeholders in the beef industry say, by the Albanese government's apparent attempt to appease America.
They won't take any of our beef. They don't want it because they don't want it to affect their farmers. And you know what? I don't blame them, but we're doing the same thing.
As Donald Trump's tariffs on Australian beef loom, The federal government has lifted a ban on US beef coming into Australia.
This decision has been purely based on science and a rigorous assessment by my department.
We're concerned as a government about the lack of transparency around this decision.
Produce from Canada and Mexico is processed in the US, and there lies the risk to Australia of potentially industry-crippling disease, such as foot and mouth.
Oh, well, if you saw what happened in England back in the early 2000s, I mean, it's extremely deadly.
When these big global companies are sourcing product from all over the world and bringing it in, you don't really know where it's coming from. And I think it's a Herculean task for someone to get on top of that.
John Knights is a beef producer from St George in southwest Queensland. He says there could be a risk from the moment foreign product is taken from supermarket shelves.
Well, it's just human contact and waste goes on. It's just, you're not going to know when you cook it or whatever else. It goes out and they feed a bit of meat to the pet dog or whatever. Who knows how it's going to spread, but it spreads.
It spreads through footwear, through, movement of people, which spreads to movement of vehicles, animals, pets, wildlife, and all of a sudden, we've got a mass outbreak that's impossible to stop.
For the threat US beef imports would pose to Australia's biosecurity, there's deep concern. For the threat they'd pose in the Australian consumer market, there's not so much.
I think the impact of imported beef into Australia will be quite minimal because of the volume that would come in. Commercially, American beef coming into Australia will be uncompetitive in terms of price.
Simon Gleeson oversees the Droughtmaster cattle breed in Australia.
The general consensus of producers that I speak to or people in the industry is that the American beef will end up in American-owned restaurants or hotels within Australia. But obviously we've got to get the biosecurity right for that beef coming into Australia.
To many in the industry, not even a meeting between Donald Trump and Anthony Albanese would be worth the potential for a devastating disease outbreak. And Australian beef as a premium quality product should be upheld.
If they can bring beef in, perhaps of lesser quality, with lower control systems that we have in Australia, then our beef as an entire commodity domestically is devalued.
We have the highest standards of beef in the world, and so relaxing those biosecurity rules for imports is a real concern for Australian agriculture.
In Queensland, Harry Clark, Sky News.
You want to attack Australia with bioweapons? Is that what you're saying there, Thomas?
Well, just send them all Bill Gates' fake meat burgers, his Impossible burgers. I mean, certainly the Albanese government would be all for that. These totalitarians that are hell bent on, genetic therapies, as they call this, and they demand this be given to every man, woman, and child, especially the natives in Australia. Natives first, as we saw them all get locked up.
The most vulnerable are the highest at risk. So yes, we need to take care of them first.
Right, the most vulnerable. So let's put the most dangerous products in human history into them because they're the most vulnerable to the quote unquote side effects, primary effects of those products, right? That just makes complete sense.
All right, moving on here. As long as they're all miracled up, everything's fine, even though that is most likely what's helping with the whole thing. So, yeah.
Well, how dare you resist those technologies? You don't have any new technologies as an alternative to replace that. So how dare you question?
True.
There's got to be some artificial, synthetic, Rockefeller oil produced chemical weapon that's injected into them.
That's a great segue here, Thomas. To petroleum, we're talking about it here. BP makes its biggest oil and natural gas discovery in 25 years. As it refocuses on fossil fuels. Well, I thought we were all going to burn up and die in hell because of global warming. Well, damn you, BP. BP has made its largest oil and natural gas discovery in 25 years off the coast of Brazil. Well, we may have to just go ahead and, it turns out there's a kind of shadow war going on right now between America and Brazil, for those paying attention here. Not really so shadow, but anyway, I believe this is probably part of that. In a potential big boost for the British company following its strategic shift away from renewable energy to refocus on fossil fuels. What do you make of this announcement by British Petroleum, the largest ever discovery of oil and natural gas in 25 years off the coast of Brazil?
Well, how's Trump going to tariff that? I mean, 50% on the 50% tariff to Brazil, or the 10% tariff to the United Kingdom? Which one is he going to go with here? Right?
I don't know. Probably both. Maybe both.
And if they're going to do a 50%, well, then BP will, they'll just do some other, shell company rigmarole, or they'll just buy $1 million in Trump coin and everything will go away, right?
There you go. They asked for solutions. We got them here at Weaponized News. Just bribe Trump like everybody else. Trump friends.
Hey, maybe they'll partner with the Nikola Motors scammer. Maybe they can use some of that gas for his fake fuel cell.
I remember. It didn't even have an engine. It just rolled downhill. Okay.
But they're all for supporting, climate innovators, right? Obviously, they're all for that.
Okay, we got to get through a lot still. We're already almost at the 2-hour mark. This is geopolitical section, and we're getting to aardvark genocide continuing. But India called out Trump yesterday, threatening to put tariffs on them for dealing in Russian oil. Trump threatens new tariffs on India for buying Russia oil. Again, here's a short clip to remind everybody, reported on yesterday, where India called him out. Here's Trump blowing his hot air once again today.
With India, what people don't like to say about India, they're the highest tariff nation. They have the highest tariff of anybody. We do very, very little business with India because their tariffs are so high. So India has not been a good trading partner because they do a lot of business with us, but we don't do business with them. So we settled on 25%, but I think I'm going to raise that very substantially over the next 24 hours because they're buying Russian oil, they're fueling the war machine, and if they're going to do that, then
They're buying Russian oil and fueling the war machine. Well, here's the Indian reporter. Reporter says India says the U.S. buys Russian uranium and fertilizers while criticizing India for buying Russian energy, asking the Trump here today. This was very quick. Trump says he doesn't know anything about it. Well, I thought you knew everything about all these trade deals, Trump.
India says that the U.S. imports Russian uranium, chemicals, fertilizers, while criticizing their energy imports. Your response to that, sir?
I don't know anything about it. I'd have to check, but we'll get back to you on that. Yeah, please.
So isn't America fueling the Russian war machine here now?
And all of these small fraudulent reactors and this massive rise in nuclear fuel and whatnot, America doesn't have its own. Buying all of these fuels, and we're expected to buy all of this from Russia. So you have this huge resurgence of the fraudulent industry coming out. And where's the fuel? Where's the enriched uranium and base uranium products all coming from? America doesn't have enough for that. That's coming from Russia. It's being bought from there. So all of these people that are against Russia, and where's the voice against that from the climate people, from the left? They're certainly not against this, isn't it? And it shows again how totally controlled that side of the aisle actually is, controlled by these big Rockefeller energy and Rothschild owned and run energy companies like BP, like Texaco, like Shell, and the others, where they're just consolidating everything, eliminating competition. Hey, a net zero, that's no new competitors, no new companies, nobody coming up, no shale, nobody outside of our establishment complex. That's what this is really about. And then we'll do the fraudulent industry. And hey, Russia, we want to conquer it, take it over, but we're going to buy everything from them so that we can, again, through centralized energy, while we lie that we're for supporting the clean tech innovators as we throttle them, delete them, seize them, destroy them, murder them, and so on. I mean, certainly none of them have ever supported us.
It's just my question is here in California, why the hell do Indians with the dot, not the feather, own every freaking mini mart and every hotel. Like, what's up with that? Okay, moving on.
They like
here.
the cash flow, reliable cash flow businesses, reliable self-employment businesses, where they can make a reliable income, doing something self-employed due to whatever other, sources of discrimination that make it harder to get into a market somewhere. So they like to have the small independent businesses, which is very common for their culture, is to have a small independent business because, when you're in a developing economy, that's what you do. So they go, when they go to somewhere else, they make their own way. So it's very much culturally what they do. It's making some small shop or some small franchise or business. That's what they do in all of their home countries everywhere.
They could teach Americans here some entrepreneurial spirit for sure. Okay, moving on here too.
Well, they're doing that. You got this rise in traders, fake traders on YouTube, scamming everybody, right? Making fake forex trading companies and lying that they're super traders, and then
they're also put ahead of the line for Small Business Administration loans as being minorities. Here is another, and Denver mentions tax privileges as well. Yeah, so they're given favored identity status, I guess you could call it, as well, given a leg up here. And old white people are bad and go shoot up some heroin or take your oxycodone there, you rednecks. Okay, moving on to copy of 2014 Prep for Local War, then Intelligence Ops, says Slovak ex-general. Let's hear him talking about, he accuses the UK of orchestrating chaos in Europe to weaken public trust and sow division, including recent ecological disaster in Slovenia. Slovakia, excuse me. Well, UK, we know they're the big dogs. Here they are being called out on it.
It's absolutely very similar model from, for example, 2014. They tried to prepare everything for the local war. If it was not successful there, they tried to organize some intelligence operation. This is so important for the some kind of final result for them. We know in the UK working and intelligence service working long time against Russia, and not only for some East countries as well. And last example is in the Slovakia, and some kind of disaster, ecological disaster is one of the, I think, is main intelligence operation, how to do some kind of house or destroy some kind of thinking of population, and this is very, very dangerous for the future European and world life as well. Exactly in the relation between East part, I mean Russia, at this point, and West, UK. We know who is in the engine in this kind of operation. Still is in the British Empire, United Kingdom, and we are not so. Up to my personal thinking and up to my view, is not so really good for the European relation.
He says UK will engineer an ecological disaster, but they told us they're good liberals that care about the environment. Thomas, they wouldn't do such a thing, would they?
Yeah, everything's happening all at once. They're doing everything possible. That's possibly destructive. Funding that, but definitely not funding any of the real industry needs that our humanity's always needed. Hey, 60% of venture capital funding to fake intelligence, and 60% of the remainder, the remaining 40%, going to toys, games, apps, craps, fake reality, metaverse, and other crap. And that's why your prices are going up, because the VCs aren't funding real industry. They're not interested in that. It's all a massive Ponzi scam, Silicon Valley Ponzi scam, and with the 5 new $100 million plus implosions of all of these mega fraudsters, establishment mega fraudsters, every single day. I get email newsletters, people talking about these fails, startup fails, every single day, more of them. $15 trillion a year in economic damage. Doesn't even include all the failed startups. If that's added in there, maybe you're over $20 trillion a year in financial crime.
Indeed. Okay, let's move on here too. Well, we got a couple more international developments geopolitically. Trump threatens sanctions on Russia's, quote, shadow fleet of oil tankers if Russian president doesn't agree to ceasefire in Ukraine by Friday. That's according to the Financial Times. I don't think
Putin's already agreed to a ceasefire multiple times. But
I don't think he cares what Trump has to say at this point. He doesn't act like it anyway.
Yeah, they just moved the goalposts again and say Russia has agreed to ceasefire multiple times. Of course, they went and took Kiev to take over this fake, propped up puppet administration of Zelensky. That was when the American deep state, who wants to make this is public documents, the new Jerusalem in this southern Ukraine. This is their goal. This is what they're doing, and why they went in and conquered the Ukraine. If anybody is talking about war against Ukraine, it's America that did war against Ukraine. But the deep state, the Zionist occupied government of America, that's who did this. Of course, the Henry Kissinger DOD went and took over Ukraine. And no one wants to talk about that. Trump's
the good people. Okay, moving on to Brazil. Lula, of course, we're in a battle now with Brazil. I'm not going to call Trump to negotiate. Lula says, Brazil president says Trump has no interest in talking. He also reveals that he'll be saying what he'll be saying to Putin, Xi, and Modi as the BRICS forming up their alliances. Let's hear quickly. I do believe this is translated into English from Lula.
Eu suspeito, eu não vou ligar para o Trump para conversar lá, não, porque ele não quer falar. Mas pode ficar certo, Marina. Eu vou ligar para o Trump para convidá-lo para vir para a COP, porque eu quero saber o que ele pensa da questão climática. Vou ter a gentileza de ligar. Vou ligar para ele, vou ligar para o Xi Jinping, vou ligar para o primeiro-ministro Modi, vou ligar. Eu não vou ligar para o Putin, porque o Putin não está podendo viajar. Mas vou ligar para muitos presidentes. Cara, vem.
So he's not going to call Trump for international trade on these so important economic issues, but he's going to call Trump to invite him to the Cop-Out 28, where these guys get together and plan their world genocide, aardvark takeover system, subverting all of the democracies, right, or the fraudocracies.
Aren't they all working together at the top levels here now? I think that's been proven through the lockstep medical intervention, public health actions over the last 5.5 years, for however long it's been. I think it's transparent that we do actually have a world government at the top levels, and then they're going to play off against each other on the lower levels to keep the whole conspiracy concealed from the general population.
28th year in a row that they're going to get together and lie and fraud that they're supposedly for environment and better energies and whatnot, as they wholesale block out and never invite, never fund, finance, sponsor, support any of the breakthrough clean energy innovators. They're not welcome. Pay your own way. We're not going to help you. We're not going to sponsor a single one of you. Never going to fund any of you. You don't exist. Oh, those technologies they're so far from coming onto the market. They couldn't possibly exist, and it's going to take too long. They're not ready. So we need to just do the one world totalitarian dictatorship, the CBDC commissarism. This is his priority. I mean, so Trump socking it to this poor country, so many poor people in there, and it's all Lula's doing because he's as corrupt as there can ever be something. And of course, they've been using these selections, rigging machines, which the machines can't be questioned. The only machines in the whole history of the world that can't possibly be hacked. Keep it in mind. So they have my ultimate trust in cybersecurity. Right? When are they going to become a top cybersecurity investment? I'm not sure. But hey, privately controlled and privately owned and off the books, right? As is the code.
If they went public, they'd have to do all kinds of disclosures, and we can't have that because it's a national security risk. Okay, moving on to aardvark genocide. The Ministry of Health there in Gaza reported 52 Palestinians seeking aid have been killed and 352 injured in the last 24 hours. So you better believe the genocide is continuing there. Here are aardvark settlers. They're in the West Bank stealing from a Palestinian's home there, the refrigerator, and offering them a bottle of milk in return. It sounds like a fair trade to me. They're lucky they didn't kill him, and they very well may kill him.
لانك واحده عنصريه. هذا هو التهجير، هذا هو التنحيل القسري، هذا هو التطهير الإثني. تهور إثني أتم تهور إثني. خليها إلك الوقت هيك كتب خليها إلك حركت العقيدة التنظيم
I don't know, a Palestinian, that seemed like a fair trade, your refrigerator for some milk to me, over there in the West Bank. I don't know why you
how dare he have spilled some of the milk onto the shirt of the thief? How dare he, right? He's committed an ultimate offense. He doesn't know his role in the supremacy order, obviously.
Obviously, he needs to be put in check. It's going to be America. Not even America, just your Christian Zionists and aardvarks there in the government allegedly representing us, which we know they don't. But it's going to be them and aardvark land, and then the rest of the world against us. We're destroying ourselves over aardvark land right now in live time here. America's whatever little credibility we had is being destroyed in live time here. Norway to review sovereign wealth fund to boycott aardvark companies. So I guess we need to sanction, possibly bomb Norway, as the list of European countries calling it out is getting very, very long here now. Norway, I don't think they've called for Palestinian statehood yet, but as we've been reporting here, UK, France, Saudi Arabia, amongst others, Canada, amongst other major Western nations, not Saudi Arabia, but the other ones, are going to call for a two-state solution, Palestinian statehood. And well, in a roundabout way, Norway here now looking to boycott aardvark companies through their sovereign wealth fund, Thomas. So we need to look at probably bombing them. Even the Council on Foreign Relations here now, for crying out loud, says aardvark land is fighting a war it cannot win. Only a path to a Palestinian state can stop calamity in Gaza, and the world must lead the way. Even the freaking Council on Foreign Relations has had enough. I mean, my God, Thomas, what does it take? If the rabid aardvarks, there's nothing stopping them. Netanyahu's office has confirmed reports that there is a plan for aardvark land to occupy the Gaza Strip. And so,
well, all of these Norway companies, just like Lula has done to the American companies, all of their American headquarters and businesses in Brazil now need to be seized. Right, they're seizing all the American companies, and that's why Trump is putting this huge tariff. Lula is seizing all of the American business operations in Brazil if they dare question any of these policies of Brazil, or if they dare, post anything that might be even construed as anti-Semitic. They're getting their operations hijacked and nationalized and so on. So I guess now Trump needs to do that to all of the Norway companies and sanction and seize all of their assets inside of America. So is Trump going to do the Lula plan in retaliation for Norway's anti-Semitism?
There it is. Everybody's saying don't do it. They're going to do it. I'm saying they're saying they're going to do it. I'm saying they're going to do it too, because they've been saying it the whole time. Trump says aardvark.
Where's the Trump hotel going to go if they don't do it? Where's Trump?
Exactly. And the rest of Adelson's real estate dealings. Here's Trump said when asked about America, what are they going to do about the potential occupation of Gaza, the full occupation. It's already like 70-80% occupied. They're taking the whole thing like pretty damn soon, probably right now. They're working on it. Anyway, what's America going to do about it? Trump says it's up to aardvark land.
Support Israel reoccupying all of Gaza has been suggested by some Israeli officials?
Well, I don't know what the suggestion is. I know that we are there now trying to get people fed. As you know, $60 million was given by the United States fairly recently to supply food, and a lot of food, frankly, for the people of Gaza that are obviously not doing too well with the food. And I know Israel's going to help us with that in terms of distribution and also money. We also have the Arab states are going to help us with that in terms of the money and possibly distribution. So that's what I'm focused on. As far as the rest of it, I really can't say. That's going to be pretty much up to Israel. Yeah, please.
Yeah, so just write them a blank check here, essentially, and they can do whatever they want. Well, thank you, Mr. Humanitarian, caring about feeding the starving victims there.
Right, and you literally have the genocidalists that are genociding these people, then providing the food. You think that that's not going to be tainted food? Of course, the food's all
no
going to
conflict of interest there at all. And the water's another big thing as well. They give them dehydrated food that you need water, but they don't even have water to go ahead and rehydrate the food and so on. Clean drinking water, of course, the foundation of.
Yep. But until they hand over those hostages from out from under the powdered buildings and out from under their tents somewhere, they can't even kill more than 10 IDF soldiers in an entire year amongst 300,000 plus murders by the IDF. Well, hey, until the hostages materialize out of the powdered buildings, then you got to starve them to death, right? And giving them poison food. And hey, we're so humanitarian. Look, we're giving them polio vaccines.
Sounds like sounds like hate to me. Okay, here is Abby Martin. She's been a long time reporting on the whole horrific situation there in Gaza brought about by aardvarks. Let's hear this. I believe it looks like the background. This was on the old Joe Rogan show. I don't know when this was, but let's listen to Abby Martin, been exposing it for a long time.
When you look at Israeli society, it started off as kind of a socialist project with the kibbutzes, and now it's just turned into a fascist, supremacist state where Netanyahu reflects the true face of Israel, just like Trump reflects the true face of this country. And when it's getting too toxic for even Natalie Portman to be this ambassador to Israel, that the tide is turning. But unfortunately, there's so much shit going on. Congress hasn't said anything. They just totally support this, man. And there's weird BDS legislation trying to criminalize basically dissent, where you have contractors in Texas having to sign clauses, promise that they won't support boycott of Israel in order to rebuild hurricane homes.
What is BDS?
Boycott, divestment, sanctions. It's the movement that Palestinians have asked us to help them to, boycott. And that's what Stephen Hawking was all about. He boycotted scientific conferences in Tel Aviv. So this is what we got to do, and we have to fight our government to stop endorsing these massacres and atrocities.
Well, she needs to be censored and deleted and arrested.
Sanctions.
That's anti-Semitism, right? It's illegal now.
Hezbollah threatens to resume firing missiles at aardvarks if it intensifies operations in Lebanon. By the way, it's not only, as we continue to report here, it's not only Gaza, the West Bank, it's all the surrounding areas as well for the greater Aardvark Land Project. They continue to bomb the hell out of Lebanon. They continue to bomb the hell out of Syria, continue to bomb the hell out of Yemen. That's a little bit far south of them, but hell, they may try to grab all that land as well. And so they say, well, we'll quit bombing you if Hezbollah gives up all their weapons and turns themselves in as the good terrorists they are. I don't see that ever happening. And so ongoing operations by aardvarks in Lebanon, they continue to bomb southern Lebanon. We reported here all the way up to Beirut there in Lebanon, they've been bombing. But it was to get the terrorists, don't you know? And some good news here now out of, I guess, depending on your perspective, anti-aardvark gunman faces federal hate crime charges in deadly D.C. embassy staffer shooting. Remember that? He yelled "Free Palestine." It looked like a damn psyop to me. But he was already charged with murder. What the hell do you need hate crime? If any of this was even real, we'll just say, for the sake of argument, it was all real. First-degree murder, right? What the hell? But this is established precedent because they want to say, oh, anytime that you did it, you can't be antiseptic, and they're building their case here now slowly there now. But I mean, you're getting 25 to life, possibly the death penalty. Maybe that's why, to enhance the sentence. But you're getting life in prison for first-degree murder regardless. Why do you have to label a hate crime on top of it? You know what I mean? But that's the good news. And then
he should have known better. He should have done underage incest porn online like Hunter Biden. He wouldn't have got any penalty at all.
British opera company cancels Tosca collaboration in Aardvark land after criticism. Even the Royal Ballet and Opera said it is scrapping performances in Tel Aviv next year after nearly 200 staff members signed a letter criticizing the genocide in Gaza. So they've lost public opinion. They've lost the world here now. The tide is turning. Probably too late for the Palestinians, but I don't think it'll be soon forgotten. And they can jump up and down, scream 6 million all they want. That ship already sailed. They're doing themselves in, and we're tying the rope around our neck, going down with them like the idiots. Well, we're not idiots. They're just corrupt U.S. federal government allegedly representing us. They don't represent me, never have my entire life, and definitely not over genocide and all of their illegal foreign wars of aggression. Aardvark land, facing anger over starvation in Gaza, tries to shift the focus. And so isn't it interesting that allegedly Hamas put out this video that we showed yesterday? It's been playing all over the place the last couple of days, last week, of an alleged Aardvark hostage that they're starving to death and forcing to dig his own grave. As soon as the Hamas is winning the information war and everybody's turning against Aardvarks, they put out this video of, look at us starving this poor Aardvark, which is horrific. And obviously it goes without saying, which is horrific. Like, it makes no damn sense unless there's somebody, UK intelligence, US intelligence, Aardvark intelligence on top pulling the strings, because they essentially won the information war, and then they put out this video shooting themselves in the foot. It made no damn sense whatsoever. Outrage in Aardvark land as hostage horror video emerges at decision time for Netanyahu's government. Almost like it's a psyop all set up. It is horrific, of course, using this poor hostage as the victim here, but it's just all it's too ridiculous, right? This guy's starving. They say they got him as his hostage, digging his own grave. But why? It's literally, don't interrupt your enemy while they're, messing up. And they go ahead and do this, literally shooting themselves in the foot and giving Aardvark's propaganda to go ahead and use when the whole world has turned against them. It made no damn sense whatsoever. I saw some commenter say, looks like a Palestinian prisoner to me. But no, I believe that it really is an Aardvark prisoner, but it made no damn sense. Who knows who's holding him hostage? Probably Aardvarks saying they're Hamas, essentially one and the same. It made no damn sense. So it's obviously an intelligence op here going on, because if they were real legitimate opposition, there's no way in hell that they would put out this video when they're winning the information war here now. Thomas, what are your thoughts on this development?
Yeah, well, war by deception. What else are they going to do? They're going to continue with their main slogan, their main operation. And since the intelligence agencies own and fund more than 99% of the world so-called quote-unquote Western media, the Aardvark media, what else are you going to see on it?
True. All right, that's all we got for today, folks. Let's go over to the chats quickly here. What do we got on the Odysee? Quickly. Who do we got on Odysee? We got Gurr. We got John. They're posting up. We got Wire. Obey your. Oh, man. Here you go. This is what we get on Odysee. Horrific. There you go. Is that
best friend of Israel, best friend ever, the number one LGBTQ and pedophile, harboring state in human history.
Oh man!
But don't suspect Dershowitz, Blind Faith Trust Dershowitz, who is literally pushing for more pedophilia so that he can sleep with 14-year-old girls.
He never took his underwear off. Okay, so that's
definitely that's constitutional to Dershowitz, but you refusing your bioweapons gene therapies is not constitutional. You see, to Dershowitz.
Well, he is the lawyer that got off OJ, so I mean we could trust him. The more we print, the more they have. Just stop the printing. Well, it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard. We don't.
Wouldn't it be nice if they printed and funded the small businesses, innovators, startups that we all need, right? The small manufacturing that we all need, and funded people to actually invest in American stocks instead of just sucking more money out of their pockets into yet another Ponzi scam that will then be embezzled into the hands of these corrupt elites again. Wouldn't it be great? We need to demand that they use the print for the proper purpose of what it should be used for. Is financing the public. It's financing the distributed economy, not financing top down through the Howard Lutnicks and their 800 money laundering shell companies.
Only Lutnick gets money, nobody else, and that's the way it's going to be.
Well, Elon Musk gets money, but he's a big campaigner to stop the printing. So tons of money for him since he's got access to the discount window, but you don't. So printing is bad, you see.
Gurr, shout out to Gurr, wherever he is, 2:30 a.m. where Gurr is. So thank you for joining us this late night, Gurr, and your lovely aardvark memes there as well. Or was that Wire? Wire's putting up the aardvark memes. Well, thank you anyway, Gurr. We know you got a kick out of those aardvark memes, and Wire, thank you for the aardvark memes there. He said, we buy it from Russia. Who gets it from Iran? Yeah, well, there you go. Subsidizing the war machine in Iran as well. So go ahead and sanction them. Wait a minute. Huh? Yep. The Spider-Man meme, look that way, be distracted. Nope, they're all child molesters. And so we know this. Okay. Thank you guys for tuning in on the Odysee, keeping that chat going. The Bitchute, thank you guys for tuning in on the Bitchute. Tomorrow, I'm going to try to live stream on the Substack. I see it's integrated here, but I was just a little bit behind on today's show on the prep for it, so I didn't have time to figure out live streaming. But people have been telling me live stream on Substack, so I'm going to try it tomorrow. Shout out to the Substack audience. Of course, this will be uploaded later. But shout out to you guys. Of course, the Rumble audience is always keeping that chat very lively. Yeah, why did they? Denver's been making some astute comments. Why did they throw Chris Tucker from Friday, the black comedian, onto the list of all these high power elites? They just throw in some black comedian from Friday, you know what I mean? That's famous for freaking smoking weed on some stupid comedy. Like, how does that guy get in the mix of Prince, freaking of the princes and presidents and all these people? It doesn't make sense. And so that is funny, Denver. Thank you for adding that. He don't fit, right? Maybe they were going to sacrifice him or something. I don't know. But why is this black dude getting thrown in with all these, eugenicists from the royal family? It don't make no damn sense. Maybe they're doing something with his genes, his genetics, something. There's something more to the story because he doesn't fit. And it is funny.
They're controlling black culture. They're controlling, they're famous, right? They control the influencers.
Yeah, but he's like maybe at the time he was an influencer, but still he doesn't fit to be on that level. Anyway, it is funny, and thank you for all your comments today, Denver. John, Chloe, who else is in there? A few others there. Silver, few others there. Thank you, everybody, for commenting and chatting it up on the Rumble. We appreciate it. The Facebook, thank you, everybody, for tuning in on Facebook, Kick, Twitch, and YouTube. And as always, everybody do your own research. Peace, love, and freedom. Speak out and take action. Have a great rest of your Tuesday evening. We'll be back here